Our Black Friday sale is almost over, where everything that we make by hand here in the shop is 25% off, including our micro adjust belts that allow you to solve that problem that we've all had with belts. You buy a brand new belt, fits you perfectly. 2 weeks later, it stretches out. One hole's too tight, one hole's too loose, and you wish you had one right in the middle. That's what these micro adjust belts allow you to do. So check them out below because they're 25% off. So this is a video I've been dying to unbox. I've had these boots on my shelf for like a month and a half, 2 months, but we've just been so swamped that I haven't even had a chance to do this unboxing. And I wanted to keep it a true unboxing where I didn't spoil it by opening it up beforehand. But I'm excited about these boots because they're really unique. They're made by Oak Street Bootmaker, who make their boots in the United States, and they're a small brand who makes some really interesting and unique combinations of leathers and patterns. And the thing that really caught my eye about this is their trench boot in a natural indigo Chrome Excel rough out. If you don't know what Chrome Excel is, it's one of my favorite leathers because it smells super good. It's tanned by Horween. It's not the only reason I like it, it smells good, but I like it because it's a really saturated leather. They work tons of oils and conditioners and tanning compounds into the leather to where it's almost wet to the touch. It's a little bit like sticky, and it sweats over time, and it creates a little bit of a bloom where that white layer on top of your leather shows up as that conditioner works the surface. It's just a really popular leather for boots because of all of its unique characteristics. And what they've done with this is they've taken that Chrome Excel, they've made it a rough out or a flesh out where they flip that grain, that smooth side in and left the fuzzy side out. And then they've taken that and they've dyed it with natural indigo. And if you don't know what natural indigo is, anytime you see blue jeans, you're like, oh, those are indigo dyed jeans, right? They're blue jeans. Well, in the early 1900s up to like the 1950s, they used to dye all jeans or most jeans with natural indigo. And this natural indigo is dyed using one of the several species of the Indigofera plant family, or to a lesser extent, the tropical mollusks like the Hexaplex trunculus sea snail. Each source of the natural indigo compound is known for a particular characteristic of dye. The snails for a deep purple color or an emerald rome. The indigo for a more sea-worn ceramic color. The unique thing is most of the dyes and indigo that's used today is derived from petroleum, and you really only see true indigo dyed fabrics and material mostly from Japan. Japan has this unique obsession with indigo and natural cotton dyed with natural indigo, and this whole like raw denim thing where you shrink them and there's the size of them, you don't wash them. It's this whole version of the boot world, but with jeans, and it's got the same craziness of like $500 jeans and all these natural stuff, and it's the same hype all centered around jeans rather than boots. And so when the two worlds combine, that's what really piqued my interest. And you know, I've got some raw denim that's naturally indigo dyed, and I like the fact that it has that really cool fading potential because it doesn't bond nearly as much to the cotton as synthetics dye do to get really high highlights and lowlights where you wear it. And so to dye leather with that is pretty cool. And the way that they dye this leather is through a vat over dye, which I believe is where the leather's already tanned, and they put all the leather into another big vat and just dump all that natural indigo dye into the inside of that vat, and it tumbles it around and it dyes it on the top and on the bottom and slowly works its way into the core. But I'd be surprised if it's a full dye all the way through, so we'll see when we actually get it opened up. And one thing they really do a good job of highlighting on this product description is that Wabi Sabi idea where things just get better with age. As they break down and the repairs that makes them more beautiful, the use of the product and the evidence of that use makes the product more beautiful because you're almost embedding and infusing a soul into the product rather than this brand new thing that's never seen any wears or any hard use. The value of the product increases as you develop that patina that shows the use of the product. And that's why a lot of us love the boots and shoe world, because of like you really only get that from high quality raw materials that get better with time, and so many synthetic materials break down so quickly. You don't get that whole aging thing that like especially is popular with the Japanese craftsmanship and that excellence that they always are seemingly striving towards. And I'd like to do a full video on indigo and the dyeing of jeans. It's just not nearly as much interest in that raw denim world compared to boots, but I still want to cover it because it is crazy. Like the guys that dye that, it's a very labor intensive process like we're used to seeing for most dyes where there's huge factories that are producing this. A lot of this natural indigo is still done by small boutique farmers and small producers that produce the highest quality natural indigo because it's such a labor-intensive process. And because it's so labor-intensive, they end up being a very expensive thing to buy and to invest in, whether it's jeans or the boots. Like I said, the brand is Oak Street Bootmaker. The style is the trench boot. They retailed, the normal trench boots retail for like $488-ish for just a normal natural Chrome XL. The indigo pair I got were $465, which I think they were on sale because I think they were a premium price, but then I got them on sale or a discount or something. They're made in the United States, and the way that Oak Street Bootmaker positions the trench boot is Goodyear Welt construction, Horween Chrome XL rough out leather, vat overdyed with natural indigo, partially structured toe, black day-night rubber studded sole, stacked leather heel with the day-night top lift and antique edge stain, bourbon welt, calfskin vamp lining, tone-on-tone stitching, antique brass eyelets, and rawhide laces. It's built on their Elston last, and that's it. So now let's open this up and see how they actually look. Because there's always photos of these kinds of boots, and a lot of times they'll show like the absolute best version of any boot that's uniquely dyed or has like unique patterns or mismatching leather. And so it's always a gamble. It's always like this roulette game you're playing of like, how accurate is this actually gonna look compared to what I want it to look like? And I have no idea what to expect from a indigo dyed Chrome XL.
Drum roll, please.
So in a box, upside down. Okay, I got a 9.5. I have no idea how their sizing fits, so we'll see when I actually get them unboxed and worn. I'll give you my sizing recommendation, but let's see what's inside. First, we have a police note. In order to maximize the oxidation of natural indigo dye, this leather is not treated with a fixative. This means the rough out nap will begin exposing natural tones without superficial scratches or long-term wear. This also means when new, the indigo will bleed onto socks and potentially onto trouser cuffs as well. We recommend wearing socks and trousers which you are okay being exposed to indigo dye until the footwear is thoroughly broken in or until the dye bleed has diminished. It's a nice disclaimer because you'd assume that people are spending this much money would know dye, would understand these things. But sometimes people are just like, oh, it's dyed like a jean or like jeans from like Japanese dye, like indigo, all this cool stuff. I'm gonna buy it. They don't actually do the research or don't know enough. They could be wearing them with their white pants or even like wearing a white shirt. I'm willing to bet these will bleed pretty easily. So nice disclaimer. Got your duster bags, which I've never used once in my entire life. And oh, that is very blue. I thought it was gonna be not very blue at all. But you can see, even from shipping, that dye's transferred over to the packing paper. Oh, so it is pretty interesting looking at these because you can tell that this material is tough to work with because that dye is all over the place. It's on the stitches, it's on the welt. It seems like that dye probably just gets all over the place when they're making these boots. I assume that the leather's dyed before it's put on the boots. But if you look really closely at this welt area, it looks like they're dyed after the boots are put together. And then look at the tongue, that natural indigo on the tongue. Yeah, no wonder they're like, these are gonna bleed on you. Like look at my finger just from touching that. Oh, these are gonna be weird to wear in. I definitely wore the wrong hoodie. I'm gonna take this off for sure. So are these dyed? Do they dip them upside down in a vat of indigo? Is that what they meant by vat dyed? Yeah, I think that's how they do it. Because everywhere, everywhere where it's lapped over, you can see the natural flesh of the Chrome XL popping through. And even on the edges where it's blued, I can like scrape off that. So it must be dyed after they're made. I don't know actually, because the inside is not dyed. So I wonder, I think this is maybe how they do it then. They must make the upper before it's dyed. But before it's attached to the bottom of the boot, they must dye the upper at that point because the insole is not dyed and the dye goes all the way to the inside in the lining because that lining is dyed blue as well. So that must be how they do it. They must go make the upper out of just natural flesh out Chrome XL. Then they take that upper before it's attached to the bottom, they dunk it in a bunch of indigo, let it seep in and get all into the flesh and everything. Pull it out, let it dry, and then they affix it to the bottom part of the boot with the welt and everything. I think. I don't actually know. That seems like it's the only way that I could see them making this. but boy, does it bleed. Like, holy cow. Like, these would be a bit of a pain to wear if you care about keeping your clothes very pristine. But yeah, it's for sure gonna turn your socks blue. They were not joking about that, because if it's making my fingers this blue, imagine once your sweat and the heat of your foot starts loosening up all that dye and getting it moist again, you're gonna go through like a 12 pack of socks before these boots stop transferring dye. But that's kind of the fun of it though. You know, it's like, it's an indigo dyed boot. It's part of the appeal of indigo, is like wearing it off and it getting everywhere, and like it being so over dyed that it bleeds all over the place. It's part of why people like it. It's part of the fun of having a over dyed leather, but it's definitely not for everybody. Like, there's a lot of people that would not want to deal with that. Let's just see how it reacts. Like if I were to lightly scratch this, because it doesn't seem like that dye is in there like super, super deep. Try not to beat these up too much before we get our shots. If I just take the back of my knife, you can see that it'll definitely darken or lighten up over time, because even some of those brown fibers are popping through the toe already. What a unique little boot. And it seems like it's pretty decent quality boot, because the components you've got this Dr. Soul's outsole that I think are really cool, vintagey, corded, like World War II style outsoles. You have clearly a 360 Goodyear welt, what seems to be a leather midsole. It's a full grain leather insole. Don't know how thick. It's got a little sock liner in it. So it seems like for $450, it's about what you'd expect quality wise. You know, it seems like it's up in that like Truman price range, a little bit more premium than a Red Wing by about $100. You get the full suite of leather materials with the leather midsole and the leather insole, and like the name brand leather and the Chrome Excel from Horween. That's where a lot of that premium comes from in these $450 boots. I like that they back their speed hooks with a little washer. I think that's a pretty unique little thing that they do. And it's a surprisingly generous looking last. Like, it does not look nearly as narrow as some of the other service style boots or vintage style boots. This one looks like it's a pretty healthy last, which I like, because I hate having my toes squished. Because I don't even know what size I got. Let me see if I think it's a regular 9.5D, so it must just be a really nice wide last. Definitely has a structured toe, but they said something about it being like semi-structured. I'm not sure what that means, because you can tell it's a full length toe stiffener. Maybe it's just one of those really thin toe stiffeners. So let's try these on. Let's see how they actually fit. And I don't remember what colors. Unfortunately, I'm wearing my grandma socks, so I don't have to worry about dyeing those. Let's see how this fits. It's an interesting boot to try to style, a blue boot, especially where it's going to bleed all over everything. Just for fun, I'll put it on my Carhartt pant knee so you can see how much the dye transfers. You know, just a couple swipes. I don't know which screen or which camera you can see that on. You can see it transfers dye quite a lot, which I don't care about because I don't really have nice clothes. I should probably lace these up first. Okay, let's see how they fit. 9.5. Make sure I'm in screen. That feels right. Boot sizing is impossible to know anyway, though, because for me, boots they're always like, oh, they feel too big. Now they feel too small. Now they feel just right. Like I always like swing between how they feel given which day of the break-in it actually is. Ooh, I feel like these are a pretty solid fit. And my toes are not squished. This is a pretty wide last. I could tie my shoes. Yeah, I like that. Ooh, I think this is that is a really wide last. I'm surprised they don't talk about that more, because like I'm not even remotely bulging out the sides, and I think they look nice too. I am way more excited about these boots now that I have them on. Yeah, those are good looking. So other than starting to look like Papa Smurf over here, I think these boots fit me just about right. I'm a 10 on the Brannock. I went to a 9.5. We'll see as I wear them a little bit more. I think you could easily go to a 10 for a little extra wiggle room. But overall, I think these boots are pretty solid little boots. You know, it has all the components you'd expect at least from the outside, for a $450 boot. I love that natural dyed indigo. It's going to be a complete disaster for the next few weeks getting this worn in. But like I said, I think that's part of the fun. Like people that would want this boot, they already know the whole indigo deal. They already probably have several pairs of raw indigo in their denim, and so you know, if you're getting this pair of boots, you probably are already used to having blue all over the place. But since this boot is sold out, I'll put links to Oak Street Bootmaker's other versions of this boot, a couple other options that look similar, and let me know what you guys think and what your experiences are in Oak Street Bootmaker, what you want me to cover in these unboxing, and let me know if you want us to cover some more like raw indigo, like the denim and that, more of that world, because I'd love to get into it. I'm not sure if there's enough interest to make it worth making videos, to pay for the editing, to pay for the time and the products to actually make it a viable option for this channel. So let me know, and I'll try to do an update video on these after I wear them for after 6 months or so. You know, it's never actually 6 months because I have to wear so many boots, but I'll get these worn in enough so you can kind of get an idea of how it ages over time. So thank you guys for all your support. Check these out, be link in the description, and let me know what other boots and brands you want me to buy to unbox selfishly on the channel, because I really enjoy doing these. It's a good time. So thank you guys. See ya.